Hey y'all, No here. Well, surprise, I ended up not selling the No Mobile after all. Uh, after taking some time to actually slow down and think about it, I realized that this van is paid for, and I really didn't feel like I would be able to get out of it what I had put into it. So I decided just to keep it, even though it wasn't the most economical vehicle for driving around town in. But maybe I'll do some more traveling next year. Now, the real reason I'm making this video is because the van is now 5 years old, or at least the van that I built is 5 years old. And so it's held together really, really well. I've had very few problems with it. Occasionally I'll get a screw that needs to be retightened on the inside of the van. But this has to do with something that could be serious depending on where you live, and if your van is exposed to more weather than mine is. When I'm at home, the van is normally parked inside this garage, so it doesn't get as much, wind and rain and snow and heat as a van that is parked outside, all year long. So the thing that I want to show you about that's the most important is the solar panel mounts. So I'm going to pause you for just a minute, and then I'll show you the maintenance that you might need to think about doing on your solar panel mounts if you mounted them the way that I did. Okay, so the part that I'm having problems with, or that needs some maintenance, are these three mounts for the solar panels. And the problem that is starting to show itself is the plastic around these screws. So as you can see, hope you can see anyway, it's just starting to get a little bit of brittleness and cracking around these screws. And I feel like it's not something that is worth taking a chance on. And I'm hoping that it is contained to just this top piece of plastic that, as you recall from previous video, I made from cutting boards. So what I'm going to do, okay, so the way that this all fits together, okay, this piece of angle aluminum attaches to this top piece of plastic with a screw that goes through here, and then there's a nut on the bottom. So what I'm going to do to get this top plate off is I'm just going to take out these two bolts right here, so they will slide out that direction, and then take out these two screws here and here, and that should let the whole thing slide out. So what I'm hoping to see when I do take this top one off is that it's only the top one that has any damage to it at all. And I think the reason that this is starting to happen is just from, these screws heating up in the summertime, getting really, really hot, and there's no place for the heat that the screws absorb from the sun to go except into this block of plastic. And so when I make the next piece, I may make it a little bit looser fit on the hole that this screw goes through, because it could be happening because of expansion and contraction of these screws with heating and cooling also. So I'm going to take off this top one, and then I'll let you see what it looks like after I get it off. Okay, so great news. When I got down to the next layer of plastic blocks, I don't see any of the flaking or cracking like I did in the top layer, and also in this next layer down. No cracking on it either, and even the rubber gasket that I put in there still looks in very good condition. So I'm going to show you the cutting board that I'm going to use to replace these top pieces, and it'll be pretty obvious how you'll do yours. So let's go over there and I will show you what we're actually going to do. So as you can see, I've removed the piece of angled aluminum from the plate right here. And I just wanted to let you see the size of cutting board that I got to replace all these cracked pieces. It's a very interesting size, 15.07 inches by 20.15 inches. It's the Mainstays brand, which is the Walmart brand. And that's what I originally used also. So if you get this size cutting board, then it should be enough to replace all 6 pieces. Keeping in mind, it has a groove around the edge of it because it was designed to be a cutting board, not solar panel mounts. But anyway, this size will be enough material that you should have enough, if you don't make any mistakes, to be able to cut out these 6 different pieces that may or may not be the same size. They probably won't be precisely the same, but all I'm going to do is just take a jigsaw, cut this piece out, and then just use this piece to use as a guide to drill the holes in the new piece. Okay, so I'm going to get one of those done, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get finished. Okay, I've got my new piece cut out and got the holes drilled in it, and it's ready for reassembly. I thought I'd give you just one little helpful tip. Okay, so if you are indeed using the same model in your van as I am, so you can see I've got this rubber gasket here, and you'll notice that I cut out around this white part right here, and this is actually the roof mounts for the luggage rack. Now, these little white circles, they protrude from the roof of the van like 1/8 of an inch. So very important when you reassemble this thing with your new block. Okay, very important that you not be like this or like this, but got to make absolutely sure that you are right in the center when you screw it back in place. if you're like this, and I'm exaggerating that, but if this bottom block is not resting completely and only on the rubber gasket, then you could have a leak. Okay, I have finished the mounts on the 4 corners. They turned out real well. No real problems at all. It was pretty easy to do. But then I got to these center ones, and what I hadn't noticed before was how these have kind of rotated, and the problem is that there's only one screw for the center mount for the luggage rack. So where these 2 luggage rack mounts have 2 screws, this one in the center only has 1. And so because there's only 1 screw, it's allowing these pieces to pivot. And you can actually see down here that I've actually gotten way off of the rubber gasket, and you can see back here where this corner is rotated back this direction. This corner has rotated in this direction, and so I'm not really sure what the solution to this problem is going to be. I'm hoping that this gasket down here is not damaged too much, or that these other pieces that are stacked up, that I'm not going to have to replace them. But I'm going to take it apart, and I'll let you see what it looks like after I get it apart. Okay, well, I got it all apart now, and so it turns out everything below the top block is in pretty good shape. There's no deterioration of this material. And we get down to the bottom block here, and we can see that this gasket material is still in pretty good shape. And the reason I didn't get a leak was that even though this piece had rotated in this direction, this part here that protrudes up from the van still stayed in the center of the hole. So even though this had rotated, the part that was keeping the moisture out in the center was still covered. But I still don't like the idea of this thing rotating. So I think what I'm going to have to do is to put a screw here and here facing upwards that will tie these 3 blocks together, and then this piece against this pipe will keep the whole thing from rotating. So that's what I'm going to try. If it works, I'll let you know. If it doesn't work, I'll let you know. Okay, here's our finished product. So now I've got a screw here and a screw here. It goes all the way down through all 3 blocks of plastic. It goes all the way down to there. So that's effectively making these 3 blocks stacked on top of each other. These 2 screws have made those 3 blocks effectively into 1 block. And then this center screw is still holding the whole thing to the roof of the van, just like it was before. And then This piece of angled aluminum is attached to this piece of pipe and to this part of the top block of plastic that you can barely see. So effectively, that's going to keep this whole thing from being able to rotate at all, because if it tries to rotate clockwise, it's going to hit here. If it tries to rotate counterclockwise, it's going to hit here. And because all three blocks of plastic are locked together with these two screws, then none of the three blocks of plastic can rotate. All right, I've got one last maintenance item that I want to cover with you. This was not nearly as serious as the solar panel mounts. So these are just the shoe holders that I use for storage. But what I found is that over time, this plastic will start to get holes in it. And so a very easy solution, I wish I'd done this to start with, is I'm just taking 2-liter soft drink bottles and I cut the top off, and this particular shoe holder, these will slide right down in there, and these soft drink bottles are very, very durable. Will probably not wear out before I do. So that's something else that you can do if you haven't started building your van yet, or you may want to go ahead and do it if you've already finished your van to keep this part from getting wear and tear on it and getting some holes in it. All right, and that is everything for now. It's taken 5 years for the van to reach the point that it needed even this maintenance done on it. So if anything else crops up that's important, I'll be sure and put an update on it so you can keep your van in good repair too if you built one like this one.